My first pearl for you tonight is this: be a pearl. And I say this because if you think about how a pearl is made, if you think about an oyster, what makes a pearl? An oyster is just an oyster until an irritant comes into that oyster. And the friction and the irritation of that environment causes that oyster to protect itself. And you can live in your story. You can live in your story if you choose. Or you can open it up and you can say, take this story and bring beauty from these ashes. Use your story. Be a pearl to others. One of my favorite quotes is, blessed are the cracked, for they let in the light. My second point is to know that you are precious and that He is love. And this is something I really haven't, this is for you, ladies, because in all my speaking, this one's the first time I've got this one. And as I prepared these last few weeks, I pretty much turned down my business, turned it off, and I just focused on praying and getting words for you. And there's one thing that I noticed as I was preparing for this, is how precious every single one of us is. I was reading just stories I've read forever, like the story of Noah. I think a lot of times we just think, I'm just one. What does He care about me? I'm just one. I'll never be a you. I'll never be that. He's not going to change me. It couldn't be me. But I had this revelation with the story of Noah. And it was this: I always thought that God was so displeased with what was going on that He was just going to wipe us out but save Noah. But that really isn't how the story goes. The story goes that He was grieving over the people, the environment they were living in the sin. And He said, I am done. It is over. I am wiping everything out. But then He saw Noah. It was a but. Than Noah. What I'm saying to you is that He was done in one man. He saved it. I missed this. How did I miss this? We are precious, even one of us. The Bible is threaded with these stories, and as I prayed and as I planned for you, all these stories just popped out, and it was like I couldn't get them off of my heart. Sodom and Gomorrah, He removed Lot and his family because of Lot. He says in the parables that if he is herding his sheep, that he would leave the 99 and go after that one. And he also talks a lot about parables. He talks about seeking the kingdom and how it's a treasure and you should search for the treasure of the kingdom of heaven. But then he gets to this one parable and he says that the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for a pearl. You being that pearl. Not the kingdom of heaven, but you. And I pause here because this is on my heart so much, and this is something new for me. So it must be that there are women in this room tonight who have thought, you couldn't ever choose me. You couldn't ever do with my life what you have done with Heidi's life or with Michael's life or with Rochelle's life. You couldn't possibly, because I'm not worthy. If that is you, this message was for you. You are precious. And regardless of whatever theology you were taught, He wants you to know that He is a God of love. Above everything else, He is a God of love. And there is a great inheritance for those who love the Lord. If you look on the back of your flyer when you leave, I listed verses. He shows mercy. He blesses those who love Him. He encamps His angel around those who love Him. He gives you the crown of life for those who love Him. There is an inheritance, a treasure for seeking. I'm going to close with one story. And you may have heard this, so I've excuse me if you have, but it was just so perfect that I had to share it with you. There's a little story about a little girl, and she and her mom go shopping, and they go to the dollar store. And as she is checking out, upon the counter is this little pack of pearls, a $1.95 pack of pearls. And the little girl begs and pleads, Mom, I want those pearls. Please, I want those pearls. And the mom says, you know what, baby? You can earn those pearls if you do some dishes and you help the grandmother and you help the neighbor. You can earn those pearls. And so the little girl goes home and she works so hard. She wants those pearls. And she gets her $1.95 and she brings it to the mother. And the mother goes and she gets her this cheap pair of pearls. The little girl has such pride over these pearls that she wears them day and night, to bed, to play, to school, everywhere but the bathtub, because the mom says they will turn her neck green. Her dad looks down at her with such fatherly pride, and he says, sees that she adores the pearls, and he thinks, I'm going to get her a nice set of pearls, a real set, a set of pearls she would be proud of. He goes and buys her a beautiful set of pearls. And their tradition or their ritual is that he tucks her in a bed at night. And so he goes in and he tucks her in and he says, Darling, do you love Daddy? And she says, Of course I love you, Daddy. And he says, Will you give me those pearls? And she's almost fearful. Oh, no, Daddy, not my pearls. But you can have my favorite horse, Joey. He's yours. You take him. And he's like, no, that's okay, dear. I love you. A few nights later, he comes back to her bedroom and he tucks her in and he says, Darling, do you love Daddy? And she says, Of course you know how much I love you, Daddy. And she's hanging on to her pearls now because she knows what's coming. Well, then give me those pearls. No, Daddy, not my pearls. I love you. Believe me, I love you, Daddy, but not these pearls. How about my favorite American Girl doll? You can have Molly. Take her. No, he's not going to take her. This little routine goes on for a few weeks, and then one day as he's passing by her room, he sees her sitting at the edge of her bed, and he sees the tears coming down her face. He walks in, he's like, Darling, what is the matter? Are you okay? And she looks up with him, and she opens her hand, and she says, Daddy, I love you. You can't have these pearls. And as she cries, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out this blue bag with this beautiful set of pearls. And the question that they wrote, whoever wrote this story, I think it's anonymous, said, What are you holding on to? We planned this event for 2 days for a reason, because a lot of times we come and we hear these stories of hope and we feel inspired and we leave and we have a kick in our step for a few days. But what we want to do is we want to spend some time with you tomorrow, equipping you, to give you a foundation, to not just leave with a little bit of inspiration, but to change your life, to help you, get you into that calling so that you can become the woman He has called you to be. But for a lot of us, there is something that we are holding on for dear life to that will prevent you from ever being that woman you were called to be. And so tonight, Michael and his beautiful daughter, Megan, are going to join me on stage, and they're going to sing a song. And I'm going to ask this of you. We gave you a cheap set of pearls when you came in tonight. I'm going to pray over you in a second, and we're going to